Hey guys, people wanna know, Mickey, we don't need for stay.
I'm just vegging out, bro. Humidity is great, temperatures are perfect, life is good.
You're not supposed to be vegging out down there. We're supposed to be vegging out the plants, you divvy.
You said take it easy. I'm on my way up.
I knew we should have kept T2 and just got rid of him instead. Steve, get up here, will you? And stop vegging out. We've got work to do.
You said I could take it easy today?
No, what I said, is that we were talking about vegging out. Vegging the plants out, not you vegging out downstairs on the beanbag.
Well, 2 episodes ago we were talking about clones and you went and cloned yourself and I was talking about cloning plants. So you can understand the misunderstanding.
Okay, well now you're back, let's do some work.
Okay, let's get into it.
Yeah.
What's the episode about then?
Okay, well today's episode is episode 7 and it is about vegging.
Yeah.
Vegging your plants and getting the maximum out of the vegetative period.
How to take small plants to be mature vegetative plants and how to get them ready for the flowering cycle.
Yeah.
Because we all know big roots, big fruits.
Big roots, big fruits.
So we're going to go through the veg cycle, all the products that you can use, or a lot of the products that you can use, some of the top products, some of the top tips, and let's get into the lab and look at what we've got.
Let's do it.
Right, once again, back in our favourite place, the place we love to be,
The lab.
the lab. And we're talking about the vegetative cycle. Up for argument, possibly one of the most important phases, if not the most important phase
I believe it is.
of a plant's life.
Yeah.
What we build here is going to show in the later stages of flowering.
Is going to cement your success in the flowering period.
You either build a house with cement, good veg period, or you build a mud hut, bad veg period. Which one's going to give you the strong house?
I'll go with the cement built house.
I think I would as well.
Definitely. How are we going to build the cemented?
That's what we're going to talk about now. Building the cement, mixing the cement of life.
Okay.
First of all, we're going to talk about watering. We've got 2 different sized plants here. One, do we water them both the same?
No.
Why not?
Because that's a small plant and that's a well-established large plant.
So, you see, I'm about like a magician, aren't I? So, do you see these leaves?
Yeah.
Under a microscope, and we'll put a little diagram up on the screen for you, is thousands of tiny stomata. Now these stomata take in CO2, and a fundamental part of photosynthesis, but they also give out water, they transpire water. So you imagine...
So they're like little armpits.
Yeah, a little bit armpits,
Okay.
yeah. Except armpits don't take in... That's that. Are you giving them a little blast of CO2?
Oh, I was just sneezing.
So on this plant, with all of the leaves, you can imagine how many tens of thousands, if not millions of stomatocytes these have got. These need a lot more CO2, but they're also going to lose a lot of water to the environment. Whereas that plant, how much stomata do you think's on that?
I think it's only got a few armpits.
You did that little count just before we came into lab, didn't you?
Yeah.
Of each individual stomata. What did you get up to?
I got up to 5.
5 and then you lost count.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I can't count past 5.
You can't even get to 5.
I can't even say it neither.
So the important part is early stages of veg. Show them what size watering tub you've got over there, Thomas. Adequate for a small plant. Myself, much more water. And the amounts that we give them differ significantly. This plant's going to drink a lot more and you're going to need to water a lot more often. That plant's going to drink less, so you don't need to water as often.
Top tip, little but often.
Do you have a dry period?
Yes.
When?
At least once a week.
Yeah?
Yes.
And why do you do this?
So the plant doesn't become overloaded,
Okay.
locks out any air cells, gets pithy, starts to yellow off, because overwatering creates all of these problems. So I always like to have at least one day where I won't water my plants. So when I go back the next day, the plant is ready
She's
and
hungry.
waiting to take up its next feed.
Like thousands of straws in the pot.
Yeah.
Excellent. The other reason for a dry period as well is because it's going to make the roots search. Like in nature and evolution, if there's no water where the roots are, they have to send more roots down to try and get more water. So this is how you can encourage more root growth as well.
You're making your plant work a bit more. You're getting the best out of your plant instead of your plant becoming lazy because you're just overloading it with water. And the key problems with overloading with water, as I said, it locks out the air, but it can also start fungus problems and mould. And you do not want to start entering into the flowering period when you have these problems.
No. The flowering period, there's no return once we're in there. We're going to make all the changes in the veg period.
Yeah.
So we have different media as well. Do we need to think about the amount and how often we're watering if we're in soil compared to when we're in cocoa?
Yeah.
And also when we're in cocoa, we have different amounts of cocoa, different grades of cocoa. We have something like Canna Natural, which is just a base cocoa, or Canna Professional. And then we have something like DNA Mills, which has got cork in it. And this is, a lot of people are having great success with this cocoa because it's got more air spaces. It just seems to dry out a little bit quicker. So people, and this is a problem that everyone has at one stage in the growing career, they overwater.
Yeah.
And it yellows off. So this cork is great because it's a little bit harder to overwater.
Not only this, as you're talking about cocoa there, we also have soil. Now soil has a membrane, so when you water your plant with a nutrient into soil, it remembers, it stores, it locks it away, like putting money in your piggy bank.
Okay.
So it can use it throughout the week.
Yeah.
Cocoa doesn't have this facility, so that's why majority of the time you will always add a nutrient with your water when you feed your plant.
Okay.
But with soil, if you was to do that, your EC would go through the roof and your plant would become over fertilised.
Okay, so it's an important feature in the early veg stages. If you're in soil, if you're in something like Dutch Prozor mix, which has got a lot of nutrients already, you don't need to add nutrients. Maybe give it 10 days to 2 weeks of just water, leach the nutrients out that the plant doesn't absorb, and then start with a soil feed. And that brings us on nicely to actually feeding. EC, electrical conductivity.
Yeah.
Different stages of plant's life, we need different EC. I know what you're looking for. Your famous trunction.
Here it is.
Things always get a little bit interesting when this thing comes out. I'm a little bit worried about what you do with this actually.
Well, I've learned a few things with this.
You know,
Trying to show you.
I'm going to regret this. What? You've made me invisible.
Told you.
What? Bring me back, please, T. I can't even see my own feet.
But you know why?
What?
Because everybody on the YouTube's been telling me how much they love me and they're sick of looking at you.
I don't believe that for 1 second. Thank you. Listen, I know you're learning a lot of new stuff with this blue lab trunction. I'm going to have to read the manual on this combi meter. You have to learn some new tricks. You've got your next episode, watch combi meters coming out.
If you haven't got a Blue Lab EC meter to tell you exactly what's in your water,
You're in the Stone Age.
you're in the Stone Age.
Well, I've got the combi meter, pH and EC and water temperature. Can yours do that?
Alright, show off.
But having said that, not great. My little probes aren't great at mixing 100 and 200 litre water butts, so yours does come into its own. And mine doesn't make you disappear, which is the biggest tragedy of it all. But the reason that we got them out, nutrients, EC, how much are we feeding our plants, young plants. Now, the best way to show this is probably with a little diagram. And we'll pop up a diagram on the screen, and it looks a little bit like a pyramid. Start off when they're babies, and you give them baby food. And as they grow up to teenagers, they start to eat a little bit more. And as they get to full maturity, they're eating the most. And then slowly, they become your nan and granddad eating tea and biscuits again.
baby
that's
food,
easy.
there's nothing really in the water. You work your way up to the scale, halfway through the plant's life, and then you start working your way back down off the scale as you come to the end of the plant's life.
And we begin to flush.
Yeah. And there's certain points on this scale that if you end up in that zone, you are in a very, very, very bad place for your plant. This will tell you exactly what zone you are in.
Yeah. The reason that happens is our nutrients are made of salts. If you're interested, look up things like osmotic pressure. When you put in too much nutrients into your water, there's a lot of salt. You feed your plant, it drinks it, and the amount of salt in the plant is more than the amount of salts in the cells of the leaf, and water starts to leave the cells of the leaf and starts to wilt and look really horrible, and you'll start to see the tips of the leaves go brown. That's the first sign of overfeeding.
Yeah.
The other problem is not giving the plant enough food for its stage of growth. You could be underfeeding.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. I know you like examples. So, I've got you, Thomas, a treat.
Thank you.
A fruity bake.
I'm starving.
I know you're hungry. You're not yourself when you're hungry. Now, this food I'm giving a fully mature, I'll say mature, a fully grown Thomas. Would you be happy with that to have as your food for the whole day?
Where's the rest?
Oh, there's no more. I've just decided to give you a little bit. EC 0.4 I'll just give you in your height of life.
But that's not going to do me. I'm starving again already.
That's all I've got to give you. I've underfed you. What are you going to do now? I'll tell you what you're going to do.
I'm not going to
You're
be
going to
very
get cranky,
happy.
like you always do when you need food.
That's what I'm saying. Where's the rest of it?
I'll get you the Snickers later. I'll top you up with a bit of food. But if you underfeed your plants, Thomas gets cranky like you wouldn't believe. And your plant's way of showing that they're cranky is to show you deficiencies. Common deficiencies might be nitrogen, calcium, magnesium, and these plants are going to show you in the colour of the leaf. But by then it's already late. So without the trunction or without a combo meter, you're not going to know how much you're feeding your plants. You're just guessing really, aren't you? So don't guess. Buy yourself an EC meter, buy yourself a combo meter or an EC pen, and steer your plants in the right direction. I've got a great story actually that I told Blue Lab a good few years ago. We actually use this on the literature now. So if you're driving at 70 miles an hour on the motorway,
Yeah.
and you hit a divot, what's going to happen?
Get a flat tire.
And what's the worst that's going to happen? You got to pull over,
Yeah.
fix it, and you're back on track.
Yeah.
If you're doing 180 miles an hour and you hit a divot, what's going to happen?
You're going to clear off the road and crash.
And what's going to happen to you?
Die.
Possibly. 180 miles, probably, definitely. So it's the same with the plants. If you're not guiding the plant with the correct EC and it's too much or too low, you're driving 180 miles an hour and you're likely to have a crash. Give it the right EC, you're driving the right speed, and even if you have small problems like too high a temperature or too low a temperature, it can be resolved. With high EC it can't, or a low EC it can't. So make sure you're steering your plants properly with plant nutrition and an EC pen.
Yeah. And these tools are the perfect tools to help you steer your path to success.
So, what are we going to steer with? What are we using our steering wheel to steer? Nutrients. Let's show some good nutrients to use in the veg cycle. Pretty new product to the market. Butters Trees Cocoa A and B. That's your roast dinner.
Okay.
Any base nutrient is your roast dinner. It's the fundamental part of growing plants. People think the PKs, the boosters, the extra additives, that's all the good stuff.
Make
But
sure
no,
you've got a good base nutrient.
because all you're doing without a base nutrient, you're just adding a bit of mustard, a little bit of gravy, a little bit of horseradish. Can anyone have a dinner of just mustard, horseradish and gravy
And mint sauce.
and mint sauce?
No.
No. You're going to have the meat, the potatoes, the veg, and that's your base nutrients. Butters Tree Cocoa A and B, new entry to the market.
Yeah.
So it's not been thoroughly tested by us at NPK.
But we've
However,
got confidence.
we have. And Butters Tree haven't done a single bad product yet. And we know they're not about to release something that's going to discredit their name.
No.
So we've got full faith in this product. And also the feedback from people who've been using it from day one on Instagram and very positive. So we're really excited about this base nutrient.
Definitely.
But this is cocoa. This is cocoa A and B.
Yeah.
This is, you're in your living room and that's the roast dinner for your living room. Sometimes you might want to have your roast dinner outside in some soil.
Yeah.
You can't use cocoa A and B. Instead, we use a soil feed, A and B.
Dutch Pro, A and B.
Terra firma, soil, ground,
Yes.
the earth.
Mud.
Remember, so a lot of people have been coming in the shop and saying, I'm just not getting good results. And we go through everything. And it turns out they've been using cocoa feed in soil.
Yeah. Or soil feed in cocoa.
Thomas said before, soil has a memory. It's already got nutrients. So soil feed is just essentially a weak roast dinner. It's a little bit less spuds, a little bit less vegetables, and a little bit less meat, because there's already some meat and potatoes on the plate. Cocoa has got the full range of nutrients, because cocoa is not technically inert, but it's got nothing in it to feed a plant. So the cocoa A and B has to have a lot more in it. Make sure you're using the right base nutrients, otherwise you're either going to be hungry or you're going to get really fat and obese, and that's not good either.
So make sure you pick your nutrients wisely. Make sure you pick a good base nutrient, whether it's a cheap product or an expensive product. Just make sure that you do some research on whatever product it is.
And use the one that suits you best.
Well, what about pH as well though, Steve? I know you love pH, don't you? I know it's more of a science topic. So why don't you explain a little bit more for me?
Okay, well, EC, it's all about the amount of food on the plate.
Yeah.
But how are you going to eat that food without a fork and knife? That sounded like I swore there, but I didn't. I said fork and knife.
Okay.
Okay, so we use a pH meter. Back to the trusty combo meter. EC, amount of food on the plate.
Electrical conductivity.
Very good.
Measuring the
Listen to
salts.
the science.
Yes.
And pH, potential hydrogen. And pH is your knife and fork. It opens up the gateway to the plant to allow it to eat its food. In cocoa, we aim for a pH of 5.8, and in hydro, we aim for a pH of 5.5. But in soil, we go a little bit higher, and we aim for a pH of around 6. So remember, for the media that you're using, choose the correct pH. And we'll throw up a little end screen here, so you can pause it and remember.
If you don't use the correct pH, your plant will not be able to eat its dinner.
Wrong pH. Let's say you've got a pH of 6.8.
Okay.
How would you like to eat your roast dinner with some chopsticks? Not going to get very full very quickly, are you? It's going to take you a long time.
Well, you're not going to be able to cut up that steak, are you? And digest it.
Exactly. And if we have a too low a pH,
Yeah.
how about using some plastic knives? How quickly could you eat your dinner then? You're going to miss a lot. You're not going to get any peas, are you?
No.
So peas, no magnesium, no meat, no nitrogen. You get where we're going. Give yourself the plants the right cutlery and the right amount of food. And Bob's your uncle.
They're having a feast.
Yeah.
Some tips and tricks for environment in the vegetative period, Steve.
This could take a while.
We haven't got a while.
We haven't. It's the key part of environment in veg. So, temperatures. What's your ideal temperatures?
Between 23 and 26.
Yeah. And we'll put Fahrenheit up on the screen for you US people as well.
Yeah.
Correct humidity?
Between 65 and 75.
Yeah. And the air movement?
Not too much air movement when they're small.
And minimal when they're a little bit bigger. I could get into environments all day.
But we're not, I'm going to cut you there because that's for our next episode.
Yeah. But to keep them interested, they haven't seen our automated click, voice activated humidifier. Activate. Nice. Right. In the veg cycle, we've talked about nutrients,
Yeah.
talked about the environment.
Yeah.
It's time to get a little bit fancy.
Ooh.
Fancy dancy. What special additives can you give your plant in veg that's going to give it that next level feel to it?
A little kick, a little boost.
I've got one.
I've got one here. I've got Plant Magic's Evolution Spray.
This is a really good foliar spray.
Yeah.
Lights off, give her a spray, job done. It's already pre-mixed. You can buy that bottle for about between 18 to 20 pound RRP, and it really greens up your leaf nicely. But make sure you do it when the lights are off in the dark cycle. Lights on, going to burn your plant.
Yeah.
Top product though. Which one am I going to pick out? You know I love me little critters.
You lovely little critters, don't you?
This little critter is by Hydrotops. Top heavy crop, really good product. You can buy this for RRP £35, and this is going to make your veg cycle a lot shorter. It's going to increase the growth of your plant, and if you're doing a special veg technique, which we'll talk about in a minute, like scrogging, this is just phenomenal because it keeps them really promoting new lateral branches. Just a great product, and you don't have to remove anything, just add it on top.
Yeah.
Good product. What have you got?
I've got a CO2 exhale bag.
This is great for small plants, like in the veg cycle. It doesn't give off too much CO2, roughly 600 parts per million for 6 months. So for young plants with not a lot of stomata, it's great because you're not going to just waste CO2. But for bigger plants, we would use something like TNB's The Enhancer. Again, natural. Just add 900 ml of lukewarm water at the top, give it a shake, remove the sticker, and once again, Bob is your uncle. You'll put it at the base of your plant, and as the extraction starts pulling the air out, the CO2 will move upwards through the plant, and CO2 is a plant's oxygen. It loves it, and you're going to see much increased growth in the vegetative stage. Don't go back and buy the bottle though. Keep the bottle, reduce, reuse, recycle. I love that mentality. And this you can pick up for the bottle for £30, this for £20. It's just a refillable pouch.
Yeah.
Clean your bottle out, refill, add your water, and you're done. Great products. Great products. The last part to think about in the basics of veg is we've got our feed, we know the ECs and pH, we know what we're going to give to the plant and how much, and we know the special additives that we're going to give it. But what is it all without a bit of light?
Yeah.
Our sun. So we have got a couple of things to show you just very quickly for vegging. We have metal halide bulb. They look like this. This is the Sunlux Pro. This is one of your basic metal halide lamps. Picked this up for around £25. Top tip for metal halide bulbs, you'll notice there's two pieces of glass on this. It's called double jacketed. These bulbs can be a bit dangerous if they pop. Make sure your metal halide bulb is always double jacketed. It's going to keep you safe. What have you got, Thomas?
I have got a CFL.
Compact fluorescent light.
Yeah, and this is particularly good for your clones and cuttings. This is what we mentioned earlier on when we was talking about the T5.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I prefer the CFL. This is actually that light that I have here.
This is a 125 watt CFL in the blue spectrum. You can get blue and red spectrum CFLs, but for vegging, Tom's got blue. It's much better. Quick one on CFLs. I've got to say it. You can really, if you're a shop, buy your CFLs from Maxi Bright. We've tested them, and Maxi Bright are the only ones that do a true as wattage as what is said on the box.
Yeah.
Lastly, the ceramic metal halide, the daylight intelligent light. We could get right into this, couldn't we? I'd love to get right into this right now.
Well, to be honest, I'm going to stop you there
Why?
because this is a whole new
Episode.
episode.
Don't do it to me, Thomas.
So
Don't cut me off.
that's it.
Right, looks like that decision's got made for me. I think we're going to head back to the desk and sum up then.
Yeah,
And
let's
we'll
go.
leave light for another episode.
So we've just come back from the lab and we're about to sign off. We've seen some excellent tips and tricks on what to do throughout the vegetative period.
Oh, thank you very much.
I was talking about myself.
I thought you were.
We've heard some boring science stuff by Stephen that probably not many people can understand. However, at least now we're on the NPK Show, you can rewind it and you can watch me break it down nicely into bite-sized forms for you. But remember, we've only briefly went over the vegetative period, and there's a lot more intense information. And as we said throughout the show, we're going to go more and more in depth as the show goes on.
Season 1 is really taking growers that have not done a single thing with growing plants before, and as at the end of the season, you should be able to grow a plant from seed or from clone and get some produce off it at the end of it. That's the aim for season 1. So if you're thinking, this is really basic, we're covering the basics, and the rest, season 2, 3 and 4.
Well, that's enough of that. Anyway, this has been the vegetative period with myself, Thomas, and Stephen's been helping me out today.
I'm about to go and veg out. It's been a long one today.
Okay. Thanks for watching. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe.
Don't forget P110.
Bang! Murky Waters.
Boo.
NPK. Everything.
Subscribe.
Adders, likers, subscribers, sharers.
Listen.
Twitters.
Enough of the Sean Connery. I've had enough of this. Share, like and subscribe.
Share, like and subscribe.
He thinks he's bloody James Bond. Make sure you tune in next week, episode 8, The Flowering Cycle. See you there.